go again. You'd have had to have been living under a crack rock for the last 20 years to have never heard of Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. In fact, chances are, if you're anything like me, you'll have learned everything there is to know about the real Los Angeles by playing around in Rockstar Games' fictional depiction, Los Santos. Hell, between San Andreas, Boys in the Hood, and the Death Row Records catalogue, I'd already become a bona fide PhD in Comptonology by the ripe young age of 12. I mean, San Andreas specifically taught me so much about LA culture, hip-hop history, and just life in general. The in-game radio stations taught me to cherish classic hip-hop bangers, old and new from Slick Rick to NWA. The game's retro setting and real-life inspired plot taught me a bunch about true events in LA history, like the LA riots or the rampant corruption scandal in the LAPD. And the game, of course, taught me that if a girl invites you into her house for coffee, you go in.
You want to have some coffee?
All right, let's have us some coffee.
So many missed chances. Of course, the movie influences in San Andreas are as clear as day. The game draws a big inspiration from 1993 gangster flick Menace II Society. In fact, the Green Saber drive-by that CJ's mother is killed in, sparking the events that kick off the game to begin with, are inspired by the final drive-by scene in Menace. And as well as the actual Rampart scandal, the 1988 movie Colors that concerns the crooked LAPD unit known as Crash, inspired the Crash set of crooked cops that appear in-game. But we're not here for the movies, we're here for the music. Because San Andreas is set in a fictionalized version of Los Angeles and beyond around 1992, that always meant that the game would be laced with a slick selection of 1990s West Coast hip-hop bangers. The San Andreas soundtrack was incredible. Fortunately for the fans, it was eventually released in an enormous 8-disc box set, as well as a condensed 2-disc highlights edition, which could have easily been rebranded as Now That's What I Call Music G-Funk Edition. But sticking to hip-hop specifically, there are actually two main rap stations that appear in the game. Firstly, there's Radio Los Santos, hosted by DJ Julio G.
Check it out, it's your man Julio G, broadcasting live across Los Santos and the whole San Andreas. Of course, we bring you the best in West Coast hip-hop and all the newest cuts, so y'all sit tight, don't touch the dial.
Radio Los Santos is actually heavily influenced by real-life LA radio station K-Day, the same station that had been pivotal in the early rise of Eazy-E and NWA, and where DJ Julio G had even had a real-life radio slot in the past.
Does it, Julio G, 935K. Could I tell y'all a quick story about Eazy-E, man? I just remember it right now. Me and him were driving the car one day, and Dre Day came on the radio. You know, that's a song that's dissing him, right? And, you know, that song, he's dissing Dr. Dre back, but that's what's funny about it. I never forget, I was in the front seat of his car, and I looked over at him, and I couldn't help but laugh. You know what I mean? It was crazy. And then he started laughing, too. I never forget that, man.
On Radio Los Santos, Julio G plays contemporary, early 90s West Coast rap music, with the station's playlist leaning heavily towards LA-based West Coast artists who would at least sound like homegrown talent coming straight out of Los Santos. And that radio station had some serious bangers on it. They had NWA's Express Yourself, Ice Cube's Today Was a Good Day, and of course Dre and Snoop's Nothing But a G-Thang, Baby. I mean, it's just straight fire. Everything on there is fire. Of course, the playlist is very Dr. Dre production and NWA heavy, but it does get pretty diverse, and it even includes the track La Raza by Hispanic rapper and in-game voice actor Kid Frost. And the way the in-game world interacts with and acknowledges Radio Los Santos is truly uncanny. If left idle long enough, the player's character CJ will sing along to songs from Radio Los Santos that he's got stuck in his own head.
Nothing but a G-Thang, baby. Too low down niggas going crazy. Express yourself, cause I'm from Grove Street.
And Radio Los Santos even reports on the gang activity that CJ has been getting involved in during the course of the game's missions, documenting when the in-game gangs Grove Street or the Ballers score points on each other like some sort of digital DJ academics.
Radio Los Santos is Julio G. I'm gonna tell you something else I'm hearing off the street. Grove Street family, they're on their way back up in a big way. They took over the whole neighborhood, and now they're cleaning the whole shit up. They ain't playing, man. I'm really glad to hear that. Keep that shit off my street, that's what I want to say. Make sure you get the right bad guy, homie.
But of course, as we all know, beef does not stop on the block, and even radio DJs have ops. Because there's even a couple of times when we hear Radio Los Santos' Julio G calling out rival radio stations.
You want it early? Come to me. You want the old shit? Go somewhere else. We're all about breaking the music so the rest of the world can follow.
And for that old shit, look no further than Playback FM.
Playback FM. FM. Hip-hop. From a time when your skills on the mic were more important than the size of your gat. Playback FM.
Playback is actually hosted by Forthright MC, voiced by none other than Public Enemy's Chuck D.
Listen up, y'all. You listen to the man of the hour. From the streets of Los Santos to the back alleys of Las Venturas, where you were created. I'm always into something. Listen. Be educated on the sounds that brung you, all right? Don't let them take your guns. How you gonna kill them aliens when they land? Listen, my people, you listen to the man of the hour, Forthright MC, suckers. You don't last a minute. Shout out to the real fathers of hip-hop.
As one might expect, Forthright MC is a crusader for the virtues of old school hip-hop, and frequently clapping back at the new school heads over at Radio Los Santos.
You West Coast radio suckers never play me. You just okay me. Fine, pay me. I'll spin classic hip-hop, knock you right out of your diapers.
Playback FM is ostensibly old school, with the playlist heavily leaning towards a selection of East Coast artists from the late 80s, a stark contrast to the playlist over at Radio Los Santos. But don't get it twisted, because Playback FM still has a serious selection of anthems. They got Children's Story by Slick Rick, I Know You Got Soul by Eric B. and Rakim, and tracks from other hip-hop legends like Gang Starr, Big Daddy Kane, and Biz Markie. The inclusion of Playback FM into the game as a contrast to Radio Los Santos was an excellent move, and it made players feel not only like there was hip-hop included in the game, but by including them both in the game, it felt like Rockstar actually acknowledged the ongoing debate between the old heads and the new heads that would have been going on at the time the game took place, and even continues to rage on to this day. But let's keep it real, there's only one station I stay locked to when I'm in San Andreas, and it's Radio Los Santos. Now, it's plainly obvious that the Bloods and Crips of Los Angeles, as well as several other real-life gangs, influence the fictional gangs that appear in San Andreas. But what we're most interested in are the two main gangs that influence the story the most, the Grove Street Families, or GSF, and their most hated ops, the Ballers. Now, there's been a lot of speculation as to how much Grove Street and the Ballers were inspired by the real-life Bloods and Crips of LA, and it's always been unclear which gang was supposed to be the Bloods or the Crips. And really, the truth is, each gang takes inspiration from both. Obviously, the red worn by real Bloods and the blue worn by real Crips have been reinterpreted with the green rag rocking Grove Street Families, contrasted with the purple rag rocking Ballers. Now, some have said that the purple of the Ballers rags may have been inspired by the Grape Street Crips, sometimes known to rock the color purple instead of blue because, you know, grapes purple. But apparently, there is a slightly more wholesome reason that Rockstar Games may have gone ahead with choosing green and purple specifically, because apparently green and purple represent the local football teams in Edinburgh where Rockstar Games is based, with Hibernian FC and Heart of Midlothian FC rocking green and purple respectively. But another aspect of the game that is clearly a spot-on piece of LA gang lore are the graffiti tags that appear in the game's hood. One side objective in the game is 100 spots that CJ is supposed to find and graffiti his gang's tag over, with designs for these graffiti tags clearly inspired by real-life tags by the Bloods and Crips. Hell, you know how you know this is some real-ass Blood activity? Do you remember when Soulja Boy got his CJ on, when him and his Blood homies pulled up in Fruit Town in Bompton to try and fight Chris Brown? But the similarities with real-life street culture don't end there, because the Grove Street members even throw up a reverse B sign that is awfully reminiscent of the old Treyway blood symbol. And compare that with the fact that the Ballers throw up the Crips C sign symbol for some reason. But beyond their real-life similarities with Bloods and Crips, several non-player characters within these gangs look like real-life people from the hip-hop lore. There's a Grove Street member known only by his name given by the in-game code as Fam1, who famously bore a striking resemblance to beloved West Coast legend Nate Dogg. And in addition to that, Fam1 has also been compared to the character Face from the 2001 film The Wash, starring Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg.
Hey, what you looking at? Nothing, man. Damn, I'll pop your ass out right now.
And hey, what do you know, that character Face from The Wash was actually voiced by Sean Solo Fontino, who only went on to become the voice of Franklin in GTA 5. Another Grove Street gangbanging non-player character known as Fam2 was also modelled on O-Dog from Menace to Society. Interestingly, Fam2 was also voiced by Ricky Harris, famous actor, cousin of Snoop Dogg, and married to the very first recipient of a set of beats by Dre, D. Barnes. See, it's all connected, baby. Beyond the non-player characters frequently mentioned aforementioned high-ranking baller by the name of Kane is apparently modeled on the carjacker in Menace to Society 2.
Get your ass up out the car, nigga.
But let's go beyond the Bloods and Crips that are represented in the main gangs of the Grove Street and the Ballers, because there are various other gangs all over San Andreas that were inspired by their real-life counterparts. For example, there are a few Hispanic gangs in San Andreas, including the Vagos, who rock yellow rags and were clearly inspired by the Latin Kings. The Varios are based on the Serenos and wear a light blue accent, and the San Fierro Reefer are a slightly more dapper-looking, aqua rag-rocking crew are based on their real-life counterparts, the Norteños. And finally, the San Fierro Triads are based on the real-life crew Huaching, an old San Francisco triad gang with close ties to the Bloods, and a real history of violence in San Francisco's Chinatown area. My oh my, that is indeed a whole lot of gang shit. Now, the cast of GTA San Andreas is truly a star-studded affair. We got Samuel L. Jackson playing crooked cop Officer Tenpenny.
Carl Johnson, my man. I need you to do me another favor.
A character who was actually based on real-life corrupt LAPD cop, accused undercover Blood member who may have even killed Biggie Smalls, allegedly, Antonio Perez. As well as Denzel's character from Training Day, who was apparently inspired by Perez too. And of course, Samuel L's Officer Tenpenny is always flanked by superstar voice actor Chris Penn playing Officer Pulaski.
I wonder how your brother's sleeping. Curled up next to his shower daddy while you lived comfortably on the outside.
We of course had comedy legend Charlie Murphy playing Jizzy B the Pimp.
Give me some room. Give me some room, bitch!
A character whose storyline was supposedly inspired by the film New Jack City, with CJ working for Jizzy like Scotty Appleton, played by Ice-T, in the movie did for Nino Brown. In fact, it's actually no surprise that Charlie Murphy voiced Jizzy, because it seems like the character model for Jizzy itself was based very closely on Buck Nasty, who, if you don't remember, was actually the pimp that Charlie Murphy famously played on Chappelle's Show in the iconic Player Haters sketch.
Actually, you better watch your mouth, white boy, before I put these gators up your ass to show your inside some style.
There's of course British national hero and washed-up East Ender Danny Dyer, reprising his role as washed-up East End roadie Kent Paul.
I got a pal, Rosie. He's got some casino gig going down in Venturas. Sweet.
We have Arrested Development star and Chomo stock image model David Cross, playing super RC toy nerd and distributor of some of the most irritating missions in history, Zero.
We all know drugs are for losers and or sex maniacs, and right now, sex is the last thing on my mind.
But of course, the shining jewel in the voiceover acting cast in San Andreas is the protagonist CJ. And the fact that the main character of this game is voiced by a rapper, albeit a not very famous one, should really drive home just how much of a close relationship this game had with hip-hop culture. The game's player character, Carl Johnson, is voiced by Chris Bellard, better known on the mic as Young Melee.
Young Melee, man. Y'all know who Young Melee is, man. The world know who this motherfucker is, man. It's the nigga, man. Tell him who you is, nigga.
CJ from San Andreas.
Now, I know what you're thinking. How does a relatively unknown and underground rapper end up voicing the main character for one of the most iconic pieces of media in human history? Well, fellow rapper and West Coast legend DJ Pooh was actually the one responsible. He was actually a consultant to Rockstar Games during the development of San Andreas, making sure that the team got the game's authentic gangster facts spot on. And DJ Pooh was actually credited as a co-producer and writer on the game. So it turns out he'd actually called Young Melee for a catch-up on the phone without telling him that he was on speakerphone with the big shots at Rockstar Games listening in the background. They were clearly impressed by what they heard, and a few auditions later, Young Melee had bagged the role as CJ. And for any keen-eyed GTA fanatics, you might be interested to know that Young Melee's own cousin is actually Sean Solo Fontino, who ended up voicing Franklin in GTA 5.
Live and direct, CJ and Franklin up in this motherfucking real life shit though.
It's a small world, isn't it, that Los Santos? Anywho, unfortunately, Young Melee would never appear in a GTA game following GTA San Andreas. And after being asked by a fan in 2020 whether or not he would be appearing in GTA 6, Melee went off on a crazy rant on Instagram, saying F Rockstar Games and calling them out for being some culture vulture MFs. Sat over there in London making billions off of LA culture. Oh boy. I mean, there's always been tensions between Rockstar Games and their voice actors. Anyway, following the game's release, unlike Nico Bellic, CJ's voice actor clearly made some effort to try and capitalize on the buzz that this game was going to give him. apparently founding his own independent record label, Grove Street Records, with the money he made from San Andreas, as well as releasing a debut San Andreas themed mixtape in 2005, which of course opened with a freestyle over the San Andreas theme song, as well as numerous samples from in-game audio. But unfortunately, Young Melee's career didn't seem to quite take off how he would have hoped, because following the San Andreas mixtape, he didn't end up dropping any kind of studio album or big debut project. But to his credit, he did follow up with a mixtape called The Real Coast Guard, as well as securing an Ice Cube verse and music video appearance for his track You Know Me. Hey, good to see CJ and Sweet still get along, eh? Anywho, after a while, Young May kind of faded into the background of the LA music scene, and his big long-teased project Hogtied and Duct Taped never actually ended up releasing. I mean, as an outsider, I can see why it would be really hard for Young Melee to overcome this enormous shadow over his career that's created by CJ becoming such a famous and ubiquitous character. But hey, I wish him the best, and I hope that he continues to put that voice to good use whatever he's doing. But of course, there are many other hip-hop adjacent names that appear in the cast other than the main character CJ. Now I know this one's not strictly hip-hop, but Faison Love, who you might remember from Friday or Don't Be a Menace to South Central, actually voices Sweet, who is CJ's brother, a character that seems to be visually modeled on Ice Cube.
Tony's buried over there. Little devil over there. It's Big Devil over there.
CJ's sister, Kendall, is voiced by Yo-Yo, aka Yolanda Whitaker, Grammy-nominated female rapper, protege of Ice Cube, one-time girlfriend of Tupac Shakur, and actress in Boys in the Hood.
Let me guess, Sweet. Senseless killing right, but a boyfriend from the South Side wrong?
As I mentioned earlier, 90s Hispanic rapper Kid Frost appears in-game as T-Bone Mendez.
Man, they taking the Ye shipment and the van, and Mike's still in the back. Well, what we gonna do? How the fuck we gonna know where he is? He's got his phone. He's gonna talk to us till his battery runs out. Come on, we gotta bounce. All right.
There's obviously the Eazy-E inspired character Ryder, who is voiced by legendary LA rapper MC8.
Same old CJ, Buster, straight Buster.
Rapper The Game appears in the game as B-Dup, a character model that was supposedly inspired by the clothing that was worn by NWA.
I'm sorry, dog. Huh? Smoke's fucking crazy. He paranoid. Just sit in the house thinking other fools want his business.
Where's Smoke?
I can't tell you that.
Big Beard, that's you? Hey, you still from the hood, homie, or what?
The only thing Bear give a fuck about is smoking and keeping my house clean. Ain't that right, Big Bear?
And it turns out that B-Dup's enforcer is none other than LA hip-hop radio legend Big Boy, playing the character Big Bear.
Come on, put me back on the team. Give me $20 and I'm all yours, man. Blast from the past.
Of course, one rapper who did not appear in GTA San Andreas was 50 Cent. Rockstar Games actually denied reports that 50 Cent had even been offered the role of CJ, amid rumors that 50 Cent had turned down San Andreas because of his own ambition to star in his own video game. Of course, that eventually ended up becoming 50 Cent Bulletproof. But of course, who cares about real-life rappers voicing characters when we have fictional in-game rappers who live in San Andreas, who Rockstar Games thankfully steeped in made-up hip-hop lore. Lore which, of course, was all borrowed from the backstories of real-life hip-hop legends. West Coast rap pioneer, successful actor, and one of the most refreshing drinks on a hot day, Ice-T, appears in San Andreas as the rap star Mad Dogg, a character that's clearly inspired by a number of real-life hip-hop figures, of course his own voice actor Ice-T, as well as the spelling of his name Mad Dogg being inspired by our boy Snoopy D-O-double-G. Some of his career backstory is inspired by Dr. Dre, which we'll get into shortly, and a little bit like Sweet Johnson, it also looked like Mad Dogg's character model was somewhat based on Ice Cube too. But it's not just looks and voice that give Mad Dogg his digital OG status. In the game, he has an enormous mansion, which seems to be inspired by both MC Hammer's North California mansion that was dubbed Hammer Time, as well as the hillside mansion that Ice-T owned in the 90s, which famously appeared on MTV's Cribs and had a retractable roof.
We're outside by my pool. Pool's real cool. You got the jacuzzi, you got the television set, and then this is the coolest part. This is the roof. And when you're ready, you hit this button.
Ice-T's really out here dropping the top on his house. But anyway, there's a lot more in-game lore about Mad Dogg as a rapper, because the writers at Rockstar Games came up with a meticulous and hilarious backstory for San Andreas' favorite fictional spitter. And thankfully, Rockstar Games even set up a real-life website, westcoastraplegends.com, which is essentially a fan page that kind of exists within the GTA universe to give extra backstory on the rappers that are in San Andreas. And it's not just Mad Dogg. I mean, the website also includes backstory on the crew GMW, or Stanton's Most Wanted, with their album It's a GMW Thang, an obvious spoof of Compton's Most Wanted 1990 album It's a Compton Thang. And well, much like GMW, Mad Dogg's illustrious career is of course littered with fictional spoofs of famous 1990s hip-hop albums. And since the site provides an extensive bio and discography for Mad Dogg, let's start at the beginning. He's described as the man that taught the world how to gangbang, which I thought was Riley Reid, but whatever. It's said that Mad Dogg could claim to kill people better than any fool alive, and that no other rapper could pretend to be someone they're not better than him. Shit, somewhere 6ix9ine's punching the air right now. From here, the site delves into Mad Dogg's discography, starting with his 1990 debut Hustlin' Like Gangsters, a parody of the real-life album Livin' Like Hustlers by Above the Law. His follow-up album was called Still Mad, apparently featuring an Ice-T inspired single, 2:30 in the Morning, which is no wonder when you consider the fact that the front cover of this album was inspired by Ice-T's album OG Original Gangster. But here is where the Mad Dogg lore gets deep, because apparently around 1990 he started a relationship with his label mate Rochelle Lee, clearly inspired by early muse and eventual punching bag of Dr. Dre's Michelle Lee, as well as apparently having lifted visual inspiration from Mariah Carey. Mad Dogg and Rochelle Lee actually appeared together on a duet called A Dog's Bitch from her album Legs, that's Legs with a $, an album that she later followed up with Dimes for Dollar. And although Rochelle Lee didn't actually appear in-game as a character or even have any impact on the narrative story of San Andreas, she did famously appear as one of the most iconic female characters in the game's pre-release artwork. Anywho, apparently in '91, just before the game kicks off, Mad Dogg dropped his follow-up album 24 Karat Dogg, promoting it with billboards all over Los Santos that can be found in the game. At this point where the game begins, we're essentially at the golden era of Mad Dogg's career. And it's here when CJ begins meddling in Mad Dogg's life. Because if Mad Dogg is Rockstar's interpretation of a successful but stereotypical West Coast gangster rap superstar of the early 90s, then OG Loc is his desperate wannabe wankster counterpart. Voiced by career actor Jonathan Anderson, OG Loc's real name is Jeffrey Cross.
Hey, what's happening with you, Jeffrey? Hey man, it's OG Loc, homie! OG Loc!
OG Loc is allegedly based on real-life rapper Ja Rule, evidenced by the fact that his real first name is also Jeffrey, as well as the fact that in-game events appear to reference real-life accusations against Ja Rule for supposedly stealing rhymes from DMX. Now, OG Loc's backstory is simple. He grew up on Grove Street in a house opposite CJ's, and despite Sweet's encouragement to go to college, OG Loc went for it in a career as a rapper.
Hey, Jeff, I thought you was going to, college. Man, fuck you!
And from here, Loc set out to build his street credibility by committing petty crimes and minor traffic violations which would eventually end him up in the slammer. Loc is introduced in the in-game world when Sweet, CJ, and Big Smoke go to pick him up from jail.
What's up, man? Wanna go to prison?
What?
Nah, pick up Jeffrey. He's touching down today. You wanna roll?
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, it ain't Jeffrey no more. It's OG Loc.
OG Loc.
Oh yeah, he's a real gangster now.
I see. And what do you do?
Anything he can get thrown in jail for his career, joyride, parking fines, or some other bullshit.
And over the course of a few missions, CJ gets roped into numerous hijinks on behalf of OG Loc, mainly with the focus of trying to get his rap career off the ground.
I'm putting together a listening party for my album, but first, I need a sound system. Hey, I'll roll with you, and on the way, I can get a couple of freestyles. It's OG Loc in the place. You don't want to stop me with a gun in your face. Yeah, man. Let's shut the fuck up.
And of course, the first mission where we're formally introduced to Mad Dogg comes courtesy of OG Loc. Loc tasks CJ with sneaking into Mad Dogg's mansion with the specific goal of stealing his rhyme book so that Loc can finally overcome his cripplingly bad rhymes and get his rap career popping.
Mad Dogg's rhyme book from his home in the hills. Mad Dogg's rhyme book? Man, you said you helped, Carl.
Tell you what, if they end up setting GTA 6 in Toronto, there better be an OVO chapter where CJ just runs around stealing verses for Drake's next album. Anywho, things go from bad to worse from the moment that CJ enters Mad Dogg's life. OG Loc's next request for CJ is to bump off Mad Dogg's manager because he called Loc whack.
Mad Dogg's manager is putting on me real heavy, man. He cribbing my style for real. Heavy? Man, he 5'3", but that fool's strong.
Hey, man, take me back to Dogg's mansion. Not today, asshole. Today, we taking the scenic route via the bottom of the ocean.
Dude got drowned in the ocean just for calling a rapper whack. Imagine what's gonna happen to me if I ever go to San Andreas. Fun fact, Mad Dogg's fictional manager, Alan Crawford, is a dead ringer for Cuba Gooding Jr. in the movie Boys in the Hood.
Yeah. I like to thank my fans, my mama, and my dealer.
And so after the loss of his valuable rhyme book, Mad Dogg falls off faster than a British rapper who just posed for a picture with Drake. And as the game continues, Mad Dogg falls into the perils of drink and drug addiction, losing his mansion and eventually going missing. Meanwhile, things go from strength to strength for OG Loc, now in possession of Mad Dogg's mythical rhyme book. And using these stolen rhymes, Loc drops his debut album, Straight from the Streets, an obvious spoof of Eazy-E's Straight Off the Streets of Mother Flippin' Compton. And unfortunately, while no actual full-length songs from Mad Dogg or OG Loc exist, luckily the website Legends of West Coast Rap has a full, high-quality length version of the freestyle that OG Loc spits in the house party scene in the game.
I'm the man in the place, punch you in the face, a gun in my waist, it's no baby, and yo, it's no joke, it's no joke, it's no joke, no.
Hey listen, that beats 80% of what rappers are putting out these days. Now, OG Loc's rising popularity is reflected in the game. Loc even appears on Radio Los Santos to do drops, seemingly muscling in on what used to be Mad Dogg's finesse.
Yo, what's up out there? This is Mad Dogg on your radio. You're listening to Radio Los Santos, the greatest music station in the world. Act like you know essays. Holla.
This is Gangsta OG Loc, and you're listening to my man Julio G, only on Radio Los Santos. Keep it locked, keep it loaded, keep it gangsta, baby.
Loc was even interviewed by Laszlo on WCTR to promote his new album, following a press conference from his new manager, Big Smoke.
I think I could really get into, getting hammered, singing about setting things on fire, shooting up funerals, striking poses, smoking a lid.
Exactly. You see, the Constitution was written on reefer by dudes with wooden teeth.
He's hated women all his life. He's sold drugs to school children. He's murdered innocent people just for kicks. But he rhymes like an angel.
But unfortunately, as we learned on the Legends of West Coast website, OG Loc never released anything after that first album and disappeared. And as players of the game will know well, this was all the result of CJ and Mad Dogg making a spectacular comeback. Mad Dogg eventually resurfaced in fictionalized Las Vegas clone Las Venturas, about to throw himself off of the roof of a casino in a mission titled Mad Dogg.
Hey, Mad Dogg, what you doing up there, fool?
My manager got killed, some asshole stole my rhyme book. Shit is rough. All the kids like this Loco G or whatever the fuck his name is.
Luckily, CJ is there to rescue him and drive him straight to rehab.
You just need a new manager, baby. You looking at him.
I hate y'all.
Just come in off that ledge, man.
Hey, don't fuck. Thankfully, Mad Dogg cleans himself up and is ready to take his career back by force.
Mad Dogg!
CJ, clean, dude.
Now at this point, we discover that Mad Dogg's mansion has been stolen from him by a Los Santos Vagos gang leader named Big Poppa, apparently named after the Biggie song.
I want to go home now, CJ.
That's cool, man. I'll take you. Where's home?
My mansion, baby. Alright, man. My mansion's been seized.
Yeah, your multi-million-dollar mansion to a motherfucking pusher?
You know, CJ, these things happen. I was powerless.
Come with me, all of you. We all going home.
As we see in the mission, A Home in the Hills, CJ parachutes into Mad Dogg's mansion along with a bunch of triad goons, taking it back from Big Poppa. And now, with the strengthened alliance between Mad Dogg and CJ, we would see CJ putting the beats on OG Loc and stealing back that rhyme book so Mad Dogg can make another album.
Motherfucker, I knew there was something familiar about those rhymes he was kicking. They're from my rhyme book. That's my money. And those are my hoes. Give me my rhyme book. Give me back my chain.
So after CJ and Mad Dogg chase OG Loc off of the set of his own music video, they follow him to the offices of his label, Blastin' Fools Records, clearly modelled on the Capitol Records building in LA. Here they extort Loc for both his rhyme book and his royalties, an obvious nod to Suge Knight extorting Vanilla Ice for royalties back in the 90s too.
Hey Jeffrey, you a buster, straight bitch. You stabbed me and my brother in the back.
Man, I'm an artist. We all make mistakes. Ain't that right, Alki?
You ain't no artist. You's a buster. You's a fake.
Man, I was gonna give you credit on the next album.
Man, royalties? Take that. I got more
Bitch, I
too.
should smack dog shit out your ass.
And essentially, spoiler alert, when CJ kills Big Smoke in the final mission of the game, that left OG Loke without management and he finally disappeared from the rap game for good. And that was the end of OG Loke's story. He was never heard from again, slipping into obscurity faster than his own clothing line slips onto the bargain rack at Bingo. But every dog has his day, and the day Mad Dog got his rhyme book back, he started work on a new album. This album was called 40 Dog, clearly inspired by the Dog Pound's dog food album. The release of this album marks the end of the game, and of course, who could forget the fact that even in the final cutscene, once the game has been completed, Mad Dog pulls up showing off his gold plaque.
Mr. Dogg here, who has an announcement?
Our first gold record!
Yeah,
baby! Yes, you know what I'm talking about.
And although this moment marks the end of OG Loke versus Mad Dog, one of the most ferocious beefs in San Andreas hip-hop history, their legacy would live on, being referenced frequently in future games in the HD GTA universe. Apparently, according to GTA lore, Mad Dogg's Still Mad album was remastered around 1998, and the cover of the remastered album appeared in a jukebox in GTA 4 underneath a copy of OG Loke's album, and even on a billboard in GTA Liberty City Stories, which was of course set in 1998 too. Though it is worth noting that the cover of that remastered album looks uncannily similar to the 2013 release The Madhouse, which also appears in a GTA 5 jukebox along with Rochelle's legs. And speaking of which, GTA 5 protagonist Franklin is clearly a Mad Dog and OG Loke fan, with Mad Dog's posters and ticket stubs along with gold plaques for both Mad Dog and OG Loke being found at Franklin's safe houses throughout the game. On top of that, OG Loke CDs are used as interior set dressing in GTA 4, and as one final sign of respect for our homegrown Los Santos rap legends, both Loke and Mad Dog get stars on the Vinewood Walk of Fame appearing in GTA 5. So there you have it, pretty much anything remotely hip-hop that appears in GTA San Andreas laid bare for y'all to see. But I know what you're thinking, what could possibly be better than hearing this knucklehead talk about San Andreas for 40 minutes straight? Well, it's watching me play it for an indeterminate amount of time. Well, now you can by heading over to twitch.tv/TrapLordRoss. Because unless you've also been living underneath a crack rock for the last 3 months, you'll know that I've been regularly streaming myself playing San Andreas. So if you liked this video, head on over there, follow and subscribe to your boy, and if you're watching this as a premiere, I'll probably be there streaming as soon as this video ends. So I want to give a special shout out to everybody who has been watching me tear up Los Santos on Twitch with this special musical number, and I truly hope that I see you there next time. Till then, peace.
When the premiere's finished, you can catch me on Twitch. If you don't subscribe, you're a mark-ass bitch. Mobbing with my goons, playing games, getting lit. About to drive to Grove Street, then pull out the stick. I'll be in the chat with Cormac and Susan, Rocket League with Patrick, cause we keep it moving. Raymond and Yeezy Ducky got the stream booming. CPAC on Warzone, he got the chopper shooting. We got the chat blowing up, hella emotes. Trap Lord roasting old heads like Ebro. Basketball mini game shooting me a free throw. Broke the controller doing missions for zero. Shout out the Discord Don and Lemso. Luke, Michelle and Peanut, they're all my bros. Lucy, Mike J and Saline know how we do. Shout out Kevin G on a mo. Quoteki on the beat. Rukas, that's my G. Who just checked Team Green OPB. That's the Twitch gang, don't play with me before I run up on your block like CJ and Sweet. So if you wanna join, come play with the boss. Twitch.tv/TrapLordRoss. Said if you wanna play, come play with the boss. Go Twitch.tv/TrapLordRoss. Shout out the Twitch gang, shout out everybody that's been supporting on Twitch so far. You guys are legends, and I look forward to anybody else that comes through and hangs out on Twitch, baby. I'm out. Peace.
Thanks so much for watching. Make sure that you go and check out my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/TrapLordRoss, if you want to come and check in with me and have a chat while we play some San Andreas. Thank you to everybody that's been supporting on Twitch so far. Since I started streaming, you guys are the best. I also want to give a humongous shout out to the Patreon gang. That's Max Hathaway 2000, Trauma Hound, Duhwan Jones, Ban Johnson, Mark Vader, Jay, Senjagara, Ryder, Pamela Vigil, Brandon Wallace, Chris, Sebastian Andres Laredo, Sean Anderson, Vampires for Hire, Roberto Rosas, Matthias Martin, Deshaun Campbell, Tuxedo Mask, Eric Prince Niceamore, Eric Fredrickson, Jameson Filippi, Antonio Groza, Bash the Prince, Chris J, Claire Audion, DJ Fred 100, Griffin Fuller, Henry Bryant, Jaden Cho, Jason Wyman, Javier Gonzalez, Jessica Simmons, Kizzlebot, Niraj Shukla, Otaku VS, Harry Vagina, Penis Bag McPenisface, Pyromancer, Vivi, and Wilson Psychedelic, as well as everyone else's names who you see on screen right now. I really appreciate your support, and it means the world to me to know that you guys are standing behind me, pushing me to keep making more videos every single week. Also, I just want to make it clear, this video was made a few weeks ago, and in light of recent events, I feel like it's appropriate to just add a little message at the end of this video to say rest in peace George Floyd, Black Lives Matter, and fuck 12. In times like this, I just feel it is most important for people like me in this position to listen. If you know me and you know my channel, you know that I'm all about research, I'm all about understanding, and I'm hoping that with a little bit more time, I can find a way to use my voice to make a difference to those who need it. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you soon. Peace out.